you'll see the red light come on. Hello, good evening. Welcome to a regular meeting of the East Windsor Regional School District Board of Education. Written advance notice of this meeting was provided at least 48 hours ago. Such notice provided the time, date, and location of this meeting and included the agenda to the extent it was known at the time. Notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with law. Minutes of this meeting are being kept by the board secretary and will be made available promptly to any member of the public requesting them from the board secretary at 25A Leshen Lane, Hightstown, New Jersey. Minutes will be provided at cost in accordance with board policy. Are there any board members present who believe this meeting to be in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act? There being none, we may proceed. In compliance with the fire code of the state of New Jersey, I call your attention to the emergency exits for this room, which are located in the back and side. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item C.
Having read the materials received, I move the agenda be approved as submitted.
Second. Any questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes?
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Bajoli?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes. Item D.
Be it resolved that the East Windsor Regional School District may hold 2 closed sessions at this meeting. These closed sessions concern personnel, HIB report for September 30th, 2024. Minutes of these closed sessions will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Second. Any questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Bajoli?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes. Yeah. We'll now move on to the student representative report.
Good evening, everyone. We're so excited to be back and have lots of activities to report on in regards to the student body.
As we had mentioned at the last board meeting, the Student Council had been extensively preparing for our Rush Week event. This took place last week from September 24th through September 26th during both lunches in the main gym. This Rush Week was our busiest and honestly most successful one yet, with around 50 clubs. This year we had the pleasure of welcoming new clubs including the volunteering club VT Seva, Rampage, Muslim Student Association, and Women in Business. It was great to see all our student body interact with new members and cultivate such a welcoming place for our underclassmen. After such a successful Rush Week, we cannot wait to see freshmen and sophomores much more active and involved within our school.
When looking at our school's academic accomplishments, it is important that we recognize our commended scholars for the 2024 National Merit Scholarship Program, who finished in the top 3% out of 1.5 million test takers due to their performance on the PSAT. These students have accomplished an extremely challenging accomplishment, and we want to recognize our 9 National Merit Commended Scholars: Sanjay Kakarla, Vedant Mitra, Anjay Olson, Ryan Adignan, Sahana Premkumar, Alicia Rajadaksha, Arnav Raval, Shalini Shankar, and Satvik Suresh.
Last week, our visits from college representatives were in full swing. As you may already be aware, it can be very difficult for students to make their way to colleges during the school year, especially if they are institutions on the other side of the country. Luckily, we have nearly 50 representatives from colleges around the country visiting our school over the next 2 months. Wednesday kickstarted our interviews with visits from Montclair and Princeton. Since then, we've had visits from Newman University, Johns Hopkins University, Drexel, Johnson & Wales Providence, and TCNJ. Seniors and juniors have been very grateful to take advantage of this resource, and we are thankful that the counseling department has been organizing this for us.
A quick update regarding college counseling workshops. Our senior counselors offer college clinics in the counseling office twice a week during lunches. This is helping our senior class apply to college efficiently and ensuring that we have the resources we need to succeed on college-related tasks.
Now moving on to athletics. One of the major updates have been senior nights. Many sports have been excitedly preparing to commemorate their seniors, celebrating their incredible high school careers and wishing them well on their future endeavors. In fact, field hockey senior night is happening right now. Moreover, all of our senior banners have been put up, which is another way to commemorate them for their very hard work. Another major achievement with our marching band occurred last weekend, with them winning first place in their competition. We are very proud of our athletes.
This year, our Hightstown Drama Club will be presenting She Kills Monsters, a story of love and connection. We are super excited for our drama club, and we are always inspired by their hard work in producing their show. Auditions have already occurred, and the club is getting situated for a productive and successful year.
On Friday, October 18th, our underclassmen and juniors will be taking the PSAT exam. Like last year, the test will be in online format instead of the traditional paper version, which students have appreciated. On testing day, we will follow a modified schedule that will allow seniors to come into school later in the day. Additionally, the student body will end that day with a celebration of the pep rally, which we are very much looking forward to.
Getting into the week of the pep rally, starting from October 14th, our student council has planned a robust spirit week with a hallway decorating contest for each class with a movie theme. We have also planned a series of spirit days to bring our school spirit to new heights. Not only is Friday class color day, but also the day of the annual pep rally. We are running a modified schedule so that students do not miss any classes. The pep rally will take place from 12:30 to 2:10 with numerous activities such as class games, the awaited lip sync competition, and the announcing of the hallway competition winner.
After the pep rally comes our well-anticipated homecoming game. That Friday night, Hightstown plays Allentown, and the whole student body will participate in the whiteout theme. Not only will it be a game of excitement, but we will also be introducing our homecoming court during halftime. During that night's football game, the homecoming king and queen will be announced, and the football and cheer teams will celebrate alongside the marching band. On the Saturday following the game, we also await our homecoming dance, which will be hosted by the cheer team. We are very excited for this event.
Getting back to our suggestion box update from the last meeting, we have now issued flyers across the school and on social media to our entire student body, ensuring we will receive input regarding student concerns so we are able to meet the needs of our students by addressing these issues.
With that being said, we thank everyone for listening to our report and look forward to seeing you again at our next meeting. Thank you.
That was great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. So they just mentioned the survey. What happens once they get the results? Are they then going to give it to the teachers, or do you give it to the superintendent?
So we take those responses into review and see what's feasible and see what their responses are, and then we take them to our student council meeting where we talk with our advisors, and then we bring concerns to the principal and superintendent.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Just going to do a quick introduction for this evening's presentation. So each year, school districts across the state need to provide an update regarding an English language proficiency assessment in terms of how students are progressing who are eligible for English language learner support, also known as multilingual learner support now within the state of New Jersey. So that assessment has 4 domains. These amazing folks are going to break this down for us this evening in terms of last year's feedback. So with that said, I'll turn things over to Ms. Small, Ms. Fowler, and Ms. Feliciano, and they'll provide us with an update.
Okay. Good evening. So, as Mark said, along with me, I have Monica Feliciano, who is our 612 World Language ESL Supervisor, and Renee Fowler, who is our K-5 Bilingual World Language Supervisor. So there are multiple slides we have here. We're not reading the slides to you, so we're going to just take bits and pieces of things that we think are important. So we're really going to break this into 3 areas. One is for you to understand what the access test is, what type of data it gives us. Next, the report that they show us, and then how our students did. So that's our 3 areas that we are going to break this up into. Give me 1 second, please. Oh, it's gonna be dead. Sorry, guys, I don't know why my. Give me 1 second, please. I'm not working. I don't know why. Give me 1 second, please. No, I'm not. Just went to sleep on me. Okay. Good evening. Okay, so our Access for ELS, it measures language, how and what the students can do and what they know across the 4 domains of reading, writing, listening, and speaking. The Access for ELS provides a snapshot of how well the students understand and can produce the language. The individual student report, which is given to each student individually and their families, shows proficiency levels and skill scores for each of the 4 domains, so it separates it for them. And we're going to talk about those 4 domains, the reading, writing, speaking, and listening, just so whenever time we say those domains, that's what we're referring to. Okay, so proficiency levels are interpretive scores. They are based on scale scores, but they're not the same. Scale scores are generated by statistical formulas that make scores comparable from year to year for the student, individual student, whereas the proficiency level score describes the performance in terms of the WIDA rubric and our levels from 1 to 6, so entering to reaching. The proficiency level score is a whole number. So for example, you could have a student who has a score of 3.7, which indicates that the student is a level 3 in developing, but the 0.7 demonstrates that the student is approaching, expanding, and getting there to level 4. So proficiency level scores are domain specific. So a 6th grader who earns a scale score of 370 in listening has a 4.3 proficiency score. However, the same student who receives a 370 in reading, which is a different domain, will have a reading proficiency score of 3.8. So it's not the same across domains. A proficiency level scores should not be compared across grades. So it changes. The test gets more difficult each year. So a student who is getting a 4.0 in 2nd grade in listening is not the same as a student getting a 4.0 in listening because they're exposed to very different content on the test. So what are they used for? Proficiency levels are used to make comparisons across domains, but not across grades. Again, the test gets more difficult as each year grows. And then we use the can-do descriptors to develop our lessons and guide our instruction for our students. It tells us what the students can do. So it develops a portrait of what the student is currently able to do and where we want the student to go. And it is used as one of the criteria for placing students in program. Scale scores. So the scale scores are similar to our STAR scale scores. They are unique to the student for each domain. It tracks the growth over time. So if we have a student in district who has been here from 2nd grade and has been taking the access score every single year consistently, we can see the growth within each domain looking at the scale score. So a scale score of 355 in listening is not the same as 355 in speaking because they are not across domain, just within the domain. And it monitors their growth over time. So now Renee is going to talk a little bit more in depth about listening, our listening domain, and how each level speaks to the student's abilities. So before Renee starts, we talked about the 4 domains, the reading, writing, speaking, listening. We could go through in depth what Renee is going to share with you for all 4 domains, but we figure if we really go into depth in one of the domains, when we will give you the information for the other 3, at least you follow through as to what they are, rather than having to go into depth in all 4 domains.
Okay, so when we look, you can see here that we see levels 6 and 5. All of the domains are broken down with level 6 to 1. And when we look at level 6, the students who are in level 6 are the mainstream students. They have been exited from the program. They are able to use the content language They are able to compete in the classroom in a mainstream situation. Level 5 students are still receiving ESL services. They understand directions, they can expand on ideas, they can identify supporting details.
And these level 5 students are, for those of you who were at our prior meeting, these are those students that we thought will be monitored because it'll be their first time that they're no longer in a sheltered classroom and they're in the gen ed classroom. And as Renee said, they still receive 1 period of ESL, but they're pretty much riding solo. So these are the supports we're trying to give them throughout the year.
Okay, so when we talk about our level 4 students, they're able to exchange ideas and information. They can identify positions, points of view. They are not really able on their own at this point to be able to come up with their own supporting details. They would be getting it all from a text. Our level 3 students can connect to spoken ideas from their own experiences, identify cause and effect, classify pros and cons and things like that. Our level 2 students can identify main topics in a sentence. They understand how to categorize, to sequence. They can follow short oral directions. Our level 1 students are typically our newcomers. Our level 1 students, unlike levels 2 to 6, are learning not just content language, but they're learning social language, survival language. They're new to the country, so they're trying, or certainly new to our school system, they're trying to learn how to navigate this new world and understand what it's like to be in school in the U.S. They rely very heavily on verbal, on picture cues as well as gestures.
And one of the things we've learned over the years is for level 1, as a district, the state does not do this. We break our students up into level 1B and level 1A because, as Renee just talked about, our level 1A we see are those students who are usually new to district and are very limited in their English language. Level 1B is catching on to the language, but sometimes has a difficulty speaking, but can hear what people are saying. So when you see some of our 1A and 1B, when we go into data, that's what you're going to see, even though Renee didn't bring that in here, we only have it as level 1. What we're going to go through with you here is a really quick review of some of the data that WIDA sends to us with access. This, Renee just talked to you about the entering all the way through reaching. And this is the type of a data sheet that is given to us. So for kindergarten, current kindergarten, the total number of students that are entering, they're telling us that 55 are at the entering level in listening. 48 of them were entering speaking. And if you go all the way through, you'll be able to see this throughout. What you will see is if you go into the level 6, 19 students are at a level of reaching in our listening and moving forward. What you'll notice here is that there's no one that says is at a 6.0 throughout, because Monica and Renee, one of the things that we talk about is students tend to grasp the domains differently. They're not all of a sudden, they get all 4 of them at once. One of you want to speak a little bit about the 4 domains?
When we think of second language acquisition, students learn a second language, just like your own children would have learned a first language. And one of the things they do first is they have to listen. They listen to be able to then reproduce the words that they've been hearing all along. And when a student can understand, it's not a hearing, but when they understand the word you're saying, then they can speak it because they have something to hold on to. They understand what that means. And then it moves into reading and into writing.
And what's interesting is Renee talks about is the language acquisition. This is the same exact process that our students who are taking a world language do as well. So it's not just about our students who are learning English for the first time, it's students who are learning a new language throughout. So what you'll see here is on all of these tabs, you will see the breakdown from kindergarten through high school. And again, you can look at that at your leisure because the data we're going to show you is going to be in an area that's going to be a little bit more familiar to you.
Okay, so here we have the access data from 23-24 this spring. The students take this test every spring. We have the kindergarten data. Now, the kindergarten data, we don't have anything to compare it to because this is the first time the students took the test. You can see that 8 of our kindergartners exited, and as Sandy had said earlier, we have them broken up into also level 1A and 1B. The 1A students would be those students who more recently have arrived, whereas the 1B students, it's a big jump from 1.0 to 1.6 in terms of the amount of information that you're learning. When we go down to first grade, what I'd really like you to look at are the difference in the colors. You'll see the green numbers, or the numbers that are highlighted green, and the numbers in red. The numbers in green indicate where the students moved up, and the numbers in red indicate where the students went down a level.
So just so that you can get your mind focused, can you go across where the peach level is on level 2? Because this might make sense to you here. What we're saying, if you see the number 7 at the 2023 scores, we're saying that in 2023, when these students were in kindergarten, 7 of them scored at a level 2. When they came into first grade, one of them exited, one of those 7 exited, one became a level 4, 3 of them became a level 3, and then 2 of them stayed at level 2. So that's how you're going to read through this chart. So as Renee talked about, when we have them in green, they've moved up a level and in some ways exited out. The ones that stay black are pretty much they stayed on level. And that doesn't mean they regressed. It means that they're just plugging along. The reds are those questionable, why are we moving kids back? And that's time for us to be able to look at some of those domains. Is there a specific domain that our students are struggling with that we have to change some programs with?
So now when you look and you see second and third grade, you can see how much more green we have. We still do have some ones and some in red, and that is something that we are looking at. And we have students who, again, in second grade, we had 3 exits. In third grade, we had 2 exits. This is a very important thing for you to look at here for 4th and 5th grade. It takes a student 5 to 7 years to learn a second language with enough fluency to be able to be competitive in a classroom. And we can see here for 4th and 5th grade, we have a large number of exits. For those students who begin with us in the kindergarten or in 1st grade, 4th and 5th grade is really that sweet spot where they've been with us and now they are prepared. And you can see that with the exit scores of 14 students for the 4th grade and 25 students for the 5th grade. Monica?
Okay, so now for secondary, it becomes a little bit more challenging to show students exiting. That's because, as we said earlier, the test does get more difficult as the years go on. The students there's a lot of newcomers coming to district during the secondary band of 612. So you'll see that for rising 6th graders, we had 21 exits. That's probably indicative of what they came with from elementary school, 5th grade. And as you start going to 7th grade, you see no exits. Here, we had a lot more students probably entering or moving to level 2 from the year prior. We do still have fewer, as the grades go up, fewer students dropping a level. And to exit, they need to reach a 4.5 on the access score to exit at the middle school and at the high school. That's our baseline. 8th grade, 9th grade, the numbers you see they start to stagger in green. We have, again, fewer students going down. They are showing progress. The numbers are lower than what you see in the elementary school. And that's just because students have either been in program and have exited from elementary school, or we have students new to district. Another thing I should mention is that the numbers also don't equate for students who are transient. So our students leave district often in the middle of the school year, so we can capture the data. Same thing, the numbers start to go down overall with how many students are in each grade, but students are still showing growth. And then our senior year, last year, there were much fewer students. This could be, again, exiting prior years or moving out of district.
And one of the things that we did fail to speak on is that we have several parents who refuse services. Those students still take this test and are still counted in here, because it's anyone who qualifies for services still has to take this access test.
And every year they're offered, they get their scores sent home, and they're given the option to opt back into program since if they haven't exited within that year, they will be retested again the following year. So they are also incorporated into the numbers here.
So now we're just going to try and summarize all that data because there were several slides that were in there. So if on this slide you look through, and this is for all of our students who took an assessment or who was eligible to take the assessment this past year, you're going to see the number of students in K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, and high school who exited, which are pretty nice numbers when you're looking through that. Then those students who are level 5, and again, those students who are level 5 are students who are no longer in our sheltered or bilingual classes, but they still receive a period of ESL support. So that those are the students that we're trying to give some extra support so that they don't feel like they're riding solo for this year. Then you'll see the same thing for the number of students in level 4, and so forth. One of the things that I would say that this district has done super well over the last several years is we have no level 1A students in our 3 through high school. So 3 through 12, our students who are even coming in without knowing anything in the English language are advancing. They are getting some of the skills to make sure that we can move them forward. The reason that you see that 34 in the K2 is sometimes there's students who have just become new to district and they're just developing. So you'll see that all the way through the trajectory here. So that's really the summary of all the data that we just went through for you. And then we talk about some of our deficits that we see how we have to go through and help some of our students who are struggling. Now we're going to go through and talk about something really positive that is happening in the district with this.
So we are participating in the Seal by Literacy. Since 2016, the state of New Jersey has opted to be part of the Seal by Literacy. What that means is students who are able to demonstrate proficiency in another level in the 4 domains of reading, writing, speaking, and listening are able to take a test and show that they're proficient and graduate with a seal on their transcript, saying that they are biliterate and on their diploma. As of 2023, now all 50 states are included. Just a little background, we were ahead of the curve here in New Jersey, something to be proud of. Last year's numbers, 67 students were able to receive the Seal of Biliteracy at graduation. I'm sure you saw them walking across the stage with their cord, very proud. 8 of those students who received the Seal of Biliteracy did so through the World Language track. They passed with a 4 or higher on their AP exam. 57 of those students received the Seal of Biliteracy by taking and passing the Seal of Biliteracy approved exam. I think that it's important to highlight this because now with so many multilingual learners in district, it's something that we can definitely leverage and increase the numbers come this school year. There are multiple pathways for graduation, and all of our students are able to prove that their proficiency in English and in their home language. 2 of the students last year, one who was actually sitting here on the board with you all, received the Seal of Biliteracy in 2 languages on top of English, so that was something to be proud of. And overall, we doubled the numbers from the year prior, and 66 students in total sat for the exam. So it was a big accomplishment.
And of those 57 students, some of them were multilingual learner students who had their home language as well as English, and others were English language students who took it in Spanish, French, German, and in some of them they took it in their native language that we don't even teach in school, but they take the language in another area. So this is an area that we're super proud of, and one of the things that we are working for, and Monica's worked hard, is trying to see, the state, we talked about this last year, the state now has gone from the deficit model of ESLs to our asset model of multilingual learners. and ensuring that our multilingual learners realize it's an asset and they can become part of the seal of biliteracy, because that is an asset to have two languages behind them. Any questions for us?
I do have a question, and I know you guys explained it, but I just wanted to make sure I was clear. So on the slides where it says no score, those are the students that moved out of district?
No, they're students who did not take the assessment for one reason or another. Sometimes there are students who came after the test started. Like, we do get a portion of students that come in somewhere between April and September. Though those students are multilingual learners, they were not present for the assessment. Others just did not test, whether parents refused or whatever. So it's a combination of things.
And when the parents refuse, is the test after school, or is it just?
Test is during the school day.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to superintendent report.
Okay, thank you. Good evening again. Thank you to Sandy, Renee, and Monica. I just want to kind of follow up on what our student representatives shared earlier tonight, just to kind of reiterate my appreciation and recognizing our high school seniors who've been named commended students. They're pretty modest, these two individuals here, Sanjeet and Sahana, because they were also part of the small cohort within our school that was recognized as commended students for their performance on the PSAT last year. So let's give it up for these two. Congratulations. All right, significant feat. 2 of 34,000 in the nation, so definitely proud of their efforts. Just want to provide a couple of highlights in terms of where we are in the fall. Hard to believe September is almost over. When we last met, we were talking about kind of moving through our back to school night events for the school year. So we've concluded those. We concluded those last week at Perry-L. Drew. So I do want to take a moment to thank our very supportive families and parents for attending our back to school nights this year in each of our schools. Also need to express some appreciation for our teachers and our administrative teams for creating a very warm and welcoming school and classroom environment for parents during those evenings. I'm hoping that those back to school night events, I'm kind of nostalgic. I find back to school night to kind of symbolize really a springboarding and kind of just moving us into the school year with a very positive introduction. So I'm hoping our families took that away from those evenings. A couple of events I just want to highlight. This past weekend, Saturday, the NJ Rise annual Latino Festival took place here at Hightstown High School. It was originally scheduled to be kind of on grass, but due to the inclement weather, it was shifted to the new parking lot in the rear of the building. Despite the rain, it was a well-attended event. This is our third year, I believe, that it was the 11th Latino festival in our community, but I believe it's the third consecutive year that we've partnered with Rise to host it here at the high school, so we were proud of that. It's a great opportunity for our community to kind of come together. So this multicultural celebration showcases music, dance, arts, crafts. We have health screenings. There were games for children, and obviously food. You need food, and it was just I think a great way to kind of symbolize the rich tapestry of diversity within our community, and it kind of symbolizes our continued collaboration with Rise. I really appreciate Rise in terms of their resources they represent within our community. Anytime we can find ways to connect, I think I said something about us kind of sharing and raising our children within our community. So hopefully we'll continue that tradition and we'll host it here as we move forward. Quick plug for the arts. We have a marching band competition that will be taking place here at Hightstown High School on October 5th on Saturday, beginning at 4 p.m. So if you want to hear some good music and see some quality performances, our marching band will be representing among other schools as well, but obviously I'm slightly biased for Hightstown High School. In terms of parent support, we just talked about the access testing data. We have October 1st, which is, I believe, tomorrow. That's tomorrow, right? 30 days in September, yes. April, June, and November. Okay, so tomorrow night, October 1st, we have our PAC night, Parent Advisory Committee event for parents of our Spanish-speaking families. This will serve as an opportunity for the district to kind of share some resources, but also gather input from families regarding our multilingual learning programs throughout the district. Week of Respect. So in New Jersey, has been the tradition for a number of years now. We have the Week of Respect, which is connected to the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. So it designates the first week beginning with the first Monday in October. So this year, October 7th through the 11th will serve as the Week of Respect. The Week of Respect provides school districts with an opportunity to recognize the importance of social-emotional learning while placing an emphasis on age-appropriate instruction that focuses on the prevention of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So a number of things happening within each of our schools. This also serves as an opportunity for our school safety, school climate teams to kind of map out and kind of gauge where we are in an effort to kind of foster a positive school climate. And just as a reminder, all schools and district offices will be closed on Thursday, October 3rd in observance of Rosh Hashanah. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, then we'll move on. First opportunity for board member comments. Are there any board members who have anything they wish to share? No? There being none, we will move on. First opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone from the public who has anything they'd like to share? Okay, there's none. The board is going to excuse themselves for exec session. Shouldn't be too long. Should be about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back because there's items to vote on. Thanks. Okay, we're back in session. Moving on to old business. Just updated committee meetings. And then, Paul, if you could just put down for next meeting that we will put on the assess, if anybody has any questions. The assess data presentation. Oh, access. Assess access. Yes, please. Are there any questions on the committee meetings? It looks like the next one is going to be wellness on the 14th of October. Right? Yeah. Okay, if there's no questions, second opportunity for board member comments.
Hi, I have 2 questions. All right, my first question is, in regards to cleaning throughout the school day. When staff is cleaning, like when the custodial staff is cleaning throughout the school day, what kind of product do they use? And do they clean like while the students are in the classrooms? Do they clean while they're like out of the classroom? Like how does that actually work? As far as like, because I'm asking in regards to like smells, like the smell from the products, because you know there's I forgot what it's called. It's called air pollution, or I forgot what it's called. But I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're referring to. So like on our elementary schools, generally we only have a day person. And our day person is generally not cleaning in the same sense like our night crew does. So when you're thinking of cleaning a school, that's generally relegated to at night when staff and students are not here. That's when the sprays are going on, that's when the mops are coming out. So pretty much the day custodian is helping, facilitating kind of the daily operation. They're like, you know, they're opening the building, they're making sure the heat's working, they're making sure all the doors are open and the school's ready to function. They're kind of helping staff and administration kind of run the school during the day. A big part of their day is actually during lunch period when they're kind of helping in there. A lot of that cleaning, though, is also done by our cafeteria people as well. So like our deep cleaning really happens at night when mostly the staff is gone. Yeah, but that is something we're concerned about because that is a thing. As far as, you know, a lot of people have sensitivities to any kind of aerosol type of spray.
All right, thank you. I just have one more question though, to piggyback off of that. So the day crew, are they the ones, or if not them, is there anyone that actually goes to the different, like, so I found, right, through the times that I've been in the schools for, you know, the events for my son or the school or whatever, that different rooms have different temperatures. Some room, the temperature it's so stuffy. And then some rooms are just really cold, some rooms feel damp. So does the day staff actually go around, or is it up to the faculty in that room to then, you know, voice their concerns?
Thanks. So as you know, we have HVAC issues. We have, you know, a lot of areas are aged and need to be replaced, so they're not operating as they should. Our standard, you know, talking about moving forward, so our standard is a set point at 71 degrees, regardless if it's summertime or in the winter. We actually program our thermostats to give staff plus or minus 3 degrees temperature range. Some school districts don't even do that. They just set it at a given point and then they're done. Here, staff can actually go from up to 74 down to 68. So if you're in a room that has some temperature variation, it very well could be that the HVAC is just not working like it did 25 years ago and it needs to be replaced.
Which building was that?
So I remember at Walter C. Black,
Yeah.
the nurses, like the nurse's office, was really stuffy. Every time I walked in there, it was a lot. But then when I went to back to school night at Krebs, I noticed that the different classrooms was also like that. And one room in particular, I think it was a social studies classroom. It was very stuffy, whereas the hallways were nice and cool. And then some classrooms were fine. So that's why I wondered how they, and I didn't see like windows open or, I couldn't understand what was causing the stuffiness.
You're kind of in a season right now which we call the shoulder season. It's kind of right after summer, right before winter, and then there's another one on the other side of winter right before you get into summer, where the outside temperature is 72, and that gets very hard to control the temperature and really the related humidity because of that, because generally it's kind of at an equilibrium, if you will. It's a lot different when it's 98 outside and you're trying to keep it at 71.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
I know that we have some committee updates, but I just wanted to, before we get into those, I just wanted to, I wish that Mr. Vincent was here. I'm just curious at the high school, with election coming up, with the presidential election coming up, are we doing anything? Has there been any sort of like encouragement to have kids register to vote, a vote drive? And I'm channeling Alice because she always talked about that and civic duty when you were 18.
I'll follow. I know that we've been providing students when they turn 18 with voter registration information, so I will follow up and provide the board with an update regarding what it looks like for election day. But I know we're required to engage students who turn 18 with voter information, so we do that. In terms of like anything beyond that grand scale, I'll provide an update.
Do you know how you get that information? Because if you have maybe a summer birthday, I don't
I think it
think
comes
that
through
we
your
got
guidance
it.
council. I think that's the guidance department, or your social studies teacher. I'm not sure. Do you know, Sandy? I want to say guidance, but I'll get back. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, if you could get back, if we could put that too for
Sure.
old business. Thanks.
I don't know if they do this anymore, but they used to have the students be able to vote on something so they could go with their parents to the poll, whether it was a mascot's name or the naming of a road at the school. I think that was helpful in wanting kids to be active.
And to piggyback off of that, yeah, I don't know if they're still doing it, but I remembered a few years ago, there was like a project in the school where the students actually reached out to me. And they were saying, they asked questions and then you found out who voted for you and who didn't. So they had like a little voting project in the school. So yeah, I would imagine that they would have something.
My question, I was just worried, I was thinking more toward the 18-year-olds, just with the election coming up.
In terms of 18-year-olds, we are required to provide them with voter ID, voter registration materials. Some of it's posted on our website, but I need to get back to you regarding how we actually push it to students so they're aware of it.
And I feel like, I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, I don't know if it was the last election, I felt like there was some sort of like voter registration or something happened at the school. There was a drive or there was something. I felt like somebody had told me that. It could have been a student, but that was it.
I'm going to give a brief policy committee update. We did meet for a meeting on Tuesday the 24th. We continue to go through our existing policies to update them. So each committee member was given a group of policies to go through. And so part of that work is done. And so in the meeting, we reviewed the policies that we've already reviewed to determine what questions we have and what work needs to be done to, to look at them and update them if needed or change them in a way that fits the district. And then we also handed out additional, so we weren't through our entire policy group, and so we handed out new groups of policies to look through so that we're continuing to review them on our own, and then we'll just continue to meet until we've gotten through all of the policies, and then we'll start to review them and bring them to the meeting to vote on.
Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, I have an update on the curriculum subcommittee that was met this evening. just to recap or move this along quickly, there is an extensive PowerPoint presentation, or PDF, sorry, attached to the agenda. So we can all review that, the public can see it. But as far as a quick recap, the first part of the presentation revolved around summer PD and like extra summer teaching for the students. We're almost reaching our typical 1/3 participation rate. We're getting there. We have hope for the future that more students will come. Basically, this is for a mixture of support for struggling learners and enrichment to get our students to the next level in school. So if they're almost there, we kind of push them to get them. That's for like the students who are almost making it to like the next level of math or the next level of language arts or science. And we help get them over that little bit of a hump to make it for the next year. And then our struggling learners who are falling behind, we also help support them to either move ahead or at least sustain where they're at so that they can move ahead easier in the next year. This is a combination of embedded learning support and after school. We also have, I'm skipping ahead, sorry here. We also have, the second half of it was for college and career readiness. So there's 3 phases. Phase 1 of 3 is starting soon, next week. And these are basically, we have a high school mentoring program where we have a team of 14 volunteers, which include teachers and guidance counselors who are meeting with students, a select group of students. Again, you can see all the details in the PDF. Basically helping students select and track goals, working on executive function skills, study skills, organization skills, and test-taking strategies. They're able to meet during the day, during their prep periods or lunchtime, and there's also after-school opportunities. Again, these students are identified via a variety of data points. This is phase 1 that we're coming into, so there'll be 2 more phases throughout the year with additional students identified. For our next meeting, or not our next meeting, but next up, we'll have a detailed data for the data that's in here, but this was basically the data in this presentation was like the whole population. Our next month, we'll have a presentation with detailed data broken down by all our subsets of students. If you have any questions regarding this, please compile them and ask them during the old business section at the next meeting. But I just wanted to keep it simple, concise, because otherwise I could go on and on about all these different points that was made. It was a great presentation. We had the whole curriculum team present and giving us information, so it was great to be in that room this evening, and I thank everyone for their hard work.
Yeah, we'll share that information with the entire board this week.
Any other comments from any of the board members? There being none, we'll move on. Second opportunity for public comment. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? If there's none, we will move on to item 9.
Policy to be abolished, A, policy 5755, equity in educational programs and services.
Second. Any questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lanz?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Bajoli?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes. Item 10.
Mandated policies for first reading, A, policy 1530, equal employment opportunities, B, policy 1550, equal employment anti-discrimination practices, C, policy 2260, equity in school and classroom practices, D, policy 2411, guidance counseling, E, policy 2431.4, prevention and treatment of sports-related concussions and head injuries, F, policy 5750, equitable educational opportunity, and G, policy 2423, bilingual and ESL education.
Second.
Any questions? Pull the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Bajoli?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes. Item 11.
Mandated regulation for first reading. A, R 2431.4, prevention and treatment of sports-related concussions and head injuries.
Second.
Any questions? Pull the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Bajoli?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso?
Yes. Item 12.
Recommended policies for first reading. A, policy 3211, code of ethics. B, policy 5570, sportsmanship. C, policy 5841, secret societies. D, policy 5842, equal access of student organizations. E, policy 7610, vandalism. F, policy 9323, notification of juvenile offender case disposition.
Second.
Any questions?
I have a question about the secret society one. Can someone explain that? I couldn't quite, I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you. I mean, it's the title is probably creating some curiosity, but ultimately it just comes down to the fact that student assembled clubs or groups, one, need to be approved by the principal. So it's just, it's really just ensuring that gatherings, as much as we do want to, students do have a First Amendment right to gather. If you're going to frame it under some level of organization, it should be approved, and it should be in line with what we believe is appropriate within a school setting. We also do not want to sanction what would be deemed as a fraternity or a sorority or some other initiated group that's not something that's in line with the mission or the vision of the district or the school. So it's just, if you're going to organize a club that will gather at the school as a student group, it needs to be done in a way that is transparent and it is sanctioned under the school district umbrella.
So I have a question though. What does it mean by participation in constitutionally protected prayer consistent with protections? What is that about?
Well, federal law enables students to gather and have student-led prayer. Right, so that's a protection that students can gather within certain parameters, but student-led prayer is acceptable in the schools.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions? If not, pull the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lands?
Yes.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Bajoli?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Ms. LaRusso? Ms. LaRusso?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. Item 13.
Motion to approve routine items by exception. Having read the materials received, I move that the board approve the routine agenda items as submitted. A, staffing for September 30th, 2024. B, approve travel and related expenses, virtual and in person. C, out-of-district placement. D, professional services for students. E, non-resident students. F, approve Melvin H. Krebs and Hightstown High School winter sports schedules for the 2024-2025 school year. G, approve surplus science books at MHK. H, approve curriculum documents. I, technology recycling batch number 51. J, co-op purchases. K, transportation jointures and quote. L, approval of professional services for SSP, Hightstown High School Auditorium Lights Phase 2. M, board minutes for September 9th, 2024. N, executive session board minutes for September 9th, 2024. And O, copy of bill list for September 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any questions?
For H, do we have any further anticipated curriculum documents to approve at the next upcoming meetings? Or are we caught up? Mark?
What do we have left? counseling documents.
Okay.
Some electives.
Yeah, we had mentioned that last meeting, second semester.
We'll give you the specific courses for the second semester.
Thanks. Just needed a refresh for my memory.
But definitely counseling. That'll be K-12.
Thanks.
Paul, I had a question on N. Is that change going to be made? The change that we had discussed?
Yes, we'll make those changes that we discussed in executive, absolutely.
Okay. Are there any questions? Any other questions? Poll the board, please.
Ms. Drake?
Yes.
Ms. Lance?
Yes for all except B, and specifically the line item within B that has my name on it. Just that line, but I approve the rest of B.
Thank you. Ms. Murphy?
Yes, but similarly, abstain from B, the first 3 lines of the New Jersey school boards. Yeah.
Ms. Berjoli?
Yes, but abstain from the line, B with my name on it. The line with my name on it, please. Thank you.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes, except for the same document,
Yes.
B.
Ms. LaRusso?
Abstain from A, line 6. Yes to the rest. And yes to all the other items.
That was a
Line 6.
Thank you.
Before we adjourn, I just wanted to make one comment for the next meeting. We'll be celebrating all the employees who have 25 years plus service. So if anybody wants to make a note of that. There's no need for a second exec session, so motion to adjourn.
Well, wait, will we meet at 6 or still 7?
Oh, good question.
Okay, so, okay, thank you.